Welcome to the Heart of Fauquier podcast. Here you'll learn the stories and tips from local business leaders and entrepreneurs who make up the heart of the community. Discover what makes Fauquier so wonderful and be inspired by the journey of local success stories. Now let's join Austin, owner of Bedrosian Cleaning Services, as we hear from today's special guest.
Welcome to today's episode of The Heart of Fauquier. Today's special guest is Noah Portugal, and I'm excited to learn more about his business and what he does. First of all, though, I want to give a little shout out to the Mason Enterprise Center in Reni here. They're hosting us and letting us use their conference room, which is amazing. And also, if you need like a virtual office, or if you need to come and use their Zoom room, they have really great resources for people starting their business or people with a small business that just need some support. Definitely get in touch with Reni and see how they can help you guys out. But we can get started. Just kind of a general question to start out. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe your family, and how long you've been in the area.
Sure. I was born in D.C. I grew up mainly in Bethesda, Maryland. I traveled around quite a bit. I went to college at Ithaca College, and then I finished my business and management degree at University of Maryland. Okay. And then I found my way out this way to open up a business, not this business, a different business, and fell in love with the area, fell in love with my wife, and ended up starting a family, and I've been here ever since. That was about 16 years ago.
Okay, very cool. And you said you have a son earlier, right?
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old son, Simon. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I have 3 stepdaughters.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
They're all a little bit older now, so.
Good.
Yeah.
And so your wife is from this area too, or she came here and then you guys met here?
No, she's originally from the Plains.
Okay.
Her whole family, she probably about 6 generations back are all from the Plains.
Oh, wow.
So she has deep roots here.
Very nice.
And just luck that I ran into her.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Cool. And the business you own is Njp Accounting. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys do?
Sure. We are bookkeeping and payroll specialists for business and personal accounts. We provide full to assisted services for all types of businesses, and mainly we do a lot of personal accounts. We do a lot of farms and estates. We're in horse country, so we do a lot of stables.
Yeah.
We specialize specifically in small to medium-sized businesses, usually about under 10 employees, and nonprofits. We've got quite a niche in nonprofits right now, too.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Are a lot of your clients in this area as well, or is this something that you can kind of help people out that are at a distance?
Yeah, when I started the company, it was a virtual concept. And I started right before COVID, so we were able to smooth right into the transition. I really wanted to be able to work from home or work from wherever I am, be kind of mobile. So most of my clients are from this area, but because we're virtual and mobile, we are able to service outside this area. So I do have clients in California, Kansas, New York, Colorado, and then all over Virginia.
Okay.
Going all the way, Haymarket, the Plains, Warrenton.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And that's neat to have a business that you can do that. Some, are kind of stuck with the location, and you guys, focus on people here, but it's cool that you can branch out, especially this last year with COVID, like you just said. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. So.
Yeah, it was, we were already set up for it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It worked okay for us. And our clients ended up appreciating it, that we were able to do that and transition them into going more virtual and doing all the Zoom and the paperless concepts. Yeah.
Very cool. And you mentioned when you moved here, it was to start a business, or when you moved here, you soon started a business. What was that business that you started before Njp Accounting?
Yeah, so I was out in Baltimore, Maryland. I had I had a business. I had a couple businesses. There were kiosks in malls.
Okay.
And I really wanted to it was a stepping stone. I wanted to go to the next step. And so I bought into a Radio Shack franchise. I started up a Radio Shack franchise in Marshall, Virginia.
Okay.
And we were there for 10 years until the lease ran out. And then during that time, I was getting my master's in accounting and decided, I was hired by a bookkeeping firm. And then I decided to start Njp Accounting.
Okay.
About 2 years. Actually, this is July. This month is our 2-year anniversary.
Hey, very cool. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And that's a big thing because a lot of businesses don't make it through those first 2 years,
Yeah.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
So that's great that you guys are doing well.
Yeah, and it's getting better. It's just growing and growing. And so we're really excited about what the future is going to come.
And I think it's exciting because from the people that I've interviewed and just, looking around Warrenton and all of Fauquier County, there's a lot of really old businesses who've been, passed down from generations or have been around 20 plus years. But there's also a lot of new businesses that have opened in the last 1, 2, 3 years. So I think it's really cool to see both sides of that and to kind of have confidence that if you start a business here, there is a good chance that you could be, one of those that's here for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd love to be here for another 20, 30, 40 years if I could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. And even if you sold it and it just kept operating, it's just a good place to have a business.
Yes, it's a wonderful area. And I think this is great that you do this because it really gives us a more intimate look with all the other businesses in this area, which is, you're not just passing by on the street and seeing this business. You're actually getting to know the people that are involved in it.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, there's real people and faces and stories behind every storefront or online store as well here.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
So accounting is kind of an interesting topic, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
It can easily be seen as kind of boring and just really a lot of work, and there's not always satisfaction with it. I don't know. For some people looking at it, you see it as super exciting, I'm sure.
I do.
And you see the benefits. So what are those benefits that should make business owners and just people managing their home excited to look into accounting and take it really seriously?
Well, I don't think it's for everybody.
Right.
What attracts me to it is ever since I was a kid, I was just really into puzzles.
Okay.
And the way I got involved with Radio Shack was with my first business, the first thing I did, I was a kid, the first thing I did was buy a big screen TV. And I liked putting all the wires together and hooking up all the remotes and doing all that. And to me, it was like a puzzle.
Yeah.
So when I got more involved in the accounting with the Radio Shack, it was really exciting to me as well, working with QuickBooks. It was putting it together. It was a puzzle, and I see it multi-dimensional, and I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So it's not for everybody, but I think it's very important to have financial awareness of your position financially.
Yeah. So
it is a chore. But it's an important chore, and I understand why a lot of people don't like doing it. I don't want to go home at the end of the day and have to do my own books. I enjoy doing my work, but then I don't want to take it home again. Yeah. So I understand how people feel about that, but that's why I'm around.
Yeah.
To help people out.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the people who can kind of get bogged down just by the whole idea of it, or they get started and it's a little overwhelming sometimes, especially if you've gone a little while with your business not being really strict about the accounting side of it, or your household, you're like, where does our money go? You know what I mean? So how can people kind of zone in on that? Are there bite-sized pieces that people can work on just to get things a little bit cleared up? Obviously they can turn to people like you, but just to have that understanding.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was a big question.
Well, yeah. Well, all the numbers and everything, all the movement, following that, keeping the records, all the back office duties, it is intimidating.
Yeah.
And then you have the software to support you with that, but that's intimidating as well. So you're coming at it, and usually if you start up trying to keep things organized later, it means that you're already stressed about it.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult for someone just to jump in and do it. And that's one of the services we provide. We'll help set up the software. We'll introduce it to you. And then we'll let you go. And if you have questions, you can come back and help. That's part of our assisted services, where our full services, you don't even have to look at the books. You know, when you want to know how much money is in your account, you call us, and we tell you what the actual balance is, not just the bank balance.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it seems like you really, I know you've said this before when I've heard you talk, just the things that kind of set you apart and why you wanted to start your business. You seem to really have a heart of a teacher, and, with, accounting especially, but in what ways have you put that into your business? I'm just trying to think of what you said earlier with like just different things that made you want to start your own business, and it kind of went into how you wanted to teach people and really be hands-on and everything like that.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur by heart. Even when I was a little kid, I was out there shoveling snow or mowing lawns. When I graduated, I couldn't get a job, and so I was like, well, I should create my own job. I'll start my own business. Njp Accounting is the fourth business that I've started, and I think we learn most by experience, and I like sharing those experiences with people so that they can learn from me. I don't think I'm a great teacher. My wife's a teacher at Coleman Elementary, but I like to talk about the subject matters, and I like it when people's eyes light up when they finally get it.
Yeah. So especially with something you're passionate about, for it to click for them, you're like, they finally got it.
Right.
Yeah. Because it is kind of cool. Like when I'm looking at my books for for my business, it's exciting to just see the progress that I made and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get bogged down in the day to day.
Right.
But then you can look back and be like, hey, I was keeping my books and look at the progress I actually made in, numbers, like saying I'm doing things right,
Yeah.
Or to see, hey, I can make these adjustments and it's going to be really good next month. So it's cool to see change just when it clicks.
As much as it is important to look back, it's just as important to look forward.
Okay.
And so forecasting is crucial. Cash flow is crucial to know where your position is and your financial awareness, like I said before. Yeah.
Okay. How does that work exactly? With forecasting and looking ahead with the cash flow and stuff like that, like how does that kind of work?
You look at historical data.
Okay.
And then you look at where you want to be, and then you can break it out and determine, how am I going to get there? Am I going to get there by creating bigger income streams or revenue streams? Am I going to cut expenses? You really have to, it's kind of goal setting, but it's goal setting based on key performance indicators, so that you're not just guessing, you're making sound judgments, educational guesses.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And that's all in like the programming that you guys use with QuickBooks and whatever else?
It's multiple different technologies that we use to do that.
Okay.
But we also, it's also with communication with the client, and really understanding. The most important thing is to be able to communicate and have a good relationship with them. And then you can understand where they want to go, and so you can keep them in touch with where they're at. Some people are just perfectly happy where they're at, and they don't. All businesses need to constantly evolve. We need to, and as we've seen with COVID, everybody had to change. They had to adjust. Well, we should be doing that even when it's standstill. We should never be just doing the same thing day after day. There has to be a time where you have to reevaluate yourself, you have to reevaluate your employees, you have to reevaluate, where you want to go, where you want to be, or if this is just it.
Yeah.
So, communicating with our clients to figure out where they're at and what their mindset is probably one of the most important parts of our business.
Okay. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We've kind of touched on this, I think, but what are some main misconceptions people might have about keeping their books or about accounting in general?
I think all the perceptions are correct. It's boring. It can be boring work. What I like doing with businesses is, I'm an entrepreneur, so I like seeing the evolving process and it constantly moving. I think, when you think of the shoebox full of receipts, that's what I do.
Okay.
I take them out, and we're constantly focused on being audit ready. We don't expect our clients to be audited, but if you're audit ready at a moment's notice, then you're doing your job.
Right.
You're keeping everything organized. It's really easy, actually. It's all about timing and being organized. And if you keep those two things in mind, then everything's okay. It's just having enough time to do all those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just want to focus on the, pushing forward with the front of their business, and you guys can kind of clean it up and make it make sense and help them project the future, like you were saying earlier. So
that's a great point. That's how I got into bookkeeping. I was for Radio Shack. I had a partner, and I was the front man. I was the guy behind the counter. I was doing all the services. I was taking care of all the inventory, taking care of all the clients or the customers at the time. And my partner was in charge of the back office. Well, that didn't go so well. So I had to take over that role, which, when you're doing a retail store, a Radio Shack, something like that, it's 6 days a week, 9-10 hours a day. The last thing you want to do is go in the back room and do all the books and everything. Yeah. But it's something I had to do and I had to learn. But that's where I got fascinated with doing the books and the puzzle of it. And then that's when I decided to get more involved. I knew retail wasn't going to be there anymore. Okay. And I was just waiting out my lease until I could move on to something else. And I've always loved numbers. And I got into QuickBooks in 2004, and so I'd been doing it a while, and it just seemed like the right step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I know that you're also a council member for the Plains. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did that come to be?
Well, when I first came here, I knew this was one of the places I wanted to be. So I knew it was important to be involved in community. At that time, I was in Marshall, so I was involved with the MBRA, the Marshall Business Residential Association. Okay. And I ended up serving on the board there for a while. And then I moved out to the Plains, and people knew that I had been involved in that. They knew me personally because of the Radio Shack. And over time, after being asked a whole bunch of times, there was really no interest in getting too involved. There weren't a lot of people that were interested in getting too involved. Okay. So they were always asking, Yeah. And so eventually there was a position open for the Planning Commission. And I got involved in the Planning Commission and learned so much. And then a position opened up for the council, and I took advantage of that. And it's been great. Okay. I really love being part of the community and having a voice for all the people that I live with.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's very cool to be able to serve and give back kind of thing to the community that you're involved in.
Yeah. I don't want to sound too political because it's not political at all. Yeah. But it makes me feel good being able to voice an opinion that someone just came up to off the street and said, "Hey, have you guys ever thought about this?" Mm-hmm. And to be able to bring that up to the council and have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Have you, because of that position now, has it changed your, like the way you look at community or your business?
Yeah, it's about awareness. I don't think a lot of people are aware of the not well. I guess the rules and everything. You know, I learned that there were a lot of committees in the plains that are out there to really make sure that anybody coming in new or anybody making any changes, that it molds well with the town of the Plains.
Yeah.
The town of the Plains has its own kind of characteristic, and we want to keep it that way. And you have a lot of expanding areas, and so we're watchful to keep ourselves a small, tight community.
Yeah.
You have Haymarket right next to us that's just exploding.
Right.
You have Marshall that's starting to explode as well, which are exciting and great for them. But as far as the town of the Plains, I think we're inviting for a lot of new businesses, but we want to just make sure it's in line with the way the community wants it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So just being more aware and, you said listening, to what people's needs are and representing them well.
Yeah, and I'm meeting so many new people that I didn't even know were right there. So
Okay.
it's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in a small town that happens.
I know. Right? Yeah,
So-
it's amazing.
Yeah. Very cool. So what are, kind of thinking about community again, but more on the bigger scale of the whole county, what are some of your favorite things to do or places to go to in Fauquier?
Yeah. I worked in D.C. and Baltimore, and I would drive 2 hours to get 30 miles, to work, and then 2 hours back. The first thing I noticed was just how beautiful the countryside is.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Zula Road, you have the Halfway Road, you have 50. It's gorgeous country. And driving to work really is such a joy because you have these beautiful scenic views. So that being said, I love enjoying the countryside. I love the vineyards. We are avid campers. We like to RV. But probably my fondest memories of Fauquier is taking the kids when they were younger and getting some ice cream and just driving around the back roads.
Okay.
And the views are incredible. There's always nature. We would have to count how many different animals we would see. I mean, we always saw something, and it's awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah, just the small things of being with family and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's important to us, and it's important. I always tell my employees, it's always family first, So it's important to be able to spend as much time as we can with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you do too with your
Yeah,
new
I
family.
do. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
So I'm excited to have our daughter kind of grow up in this area and just do the fun different things and stuff like that. We're gonna be. She won't remember much now. She's only 1, but like this at the end of this summer, we're gonna go to the flying circus and things like that. There's just cool little things that are all throughout the county that we can go do. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I hear the Fauquier Fair is coming back, so we're psyched for that.
So we'll stop there as well for a day. So
yeah, there's tons of programs available, and unfortunately, I don't think I've ever really taken advantage of all of them. So we're set out to try to do that now.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And I think some people in the last year with things being canceled are like kind of looking for new stuff and just finding things that might have been there before, but it's just, I don't know, people have a different feel. They want to go do different things. And so, all this local stuff is fun to go to, especially after COVID, just to get out and enjoy it.
Yeah, we didn't appreciate it before, something like this.
There you go, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, very cool. So I have two questions. It's kind of one question, but two different sides before we finish things out. If you have a tip for someone who maybe is just starting in a business their first couple of years, how can they do things well with their accounting to just have that firm foundation so that they can launch into the future and not, crash and burn like unfortunately a lot of businesses do. This last year was really hard on people, but for the people that just have that young business and they really want to do things right, what are some tips for them on the accounting side of things?
Well, when I was in college, I took an elective entrepreneurship class, just because I was kind of interested in it, when I was a kid and everything. And I remember the professor telling me that the most important employee of your business is the accountant. Well, he was wrong. I believe it's the bookkeeper. I learned from experience from being sloppy. I was a kid when I first started my first couple businesses, and I thought I knew it all, and I think the most important thing is to get help and ask. Look for a mentor. Don't be afraid, because people always want to help out. And enjoy the journey. The journey is just as exciting as the destination. And looking back at the journey, it's just incredible, and that's what drives me the most. Yeah.
Cool. And you can learn from your history as a business owner. You can really use that in the future, and also to mentor people and teach them along the way now too.
Yeah. I hope one day somebody will ask me. I'm still I have my own mentors. And I'm still looking for more. I learned the hard way, and I hope people would learn from me, from my mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you saying you having mentors is cool, just because earlier you were saying how, if you're not growing, then you're probably going backwards, Right. You don't get to a point where you just have arrived. It's that journey, like you just mentioned, and just, you're always learning. You always need someone to teach you more, and there's always things you can get better at.
It could be just as easy. This was told to me just a couple of weeks ago by Gary. Invite my clients out, talk to them, ask them, how am I doing? And that's been such a huge eye opener. Seeing it in their perspective. I always thought my clients really wanted to be private, and we respect that with security and everything else. But they'll be open and honest, and it helps you grow, and it lets you see things in a different light from a different position.
Yeah, and even to serve them that much better.
Yeah. And the next person better.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
And then, so the other side of the question, since you also do personal accounts, so people with their personal finances and just their home books, do you have any tips for them as well, so that they can be just organized and really manage their finances well?
Yeah, QuickBooks Online is a great source or a software which helps integrate your bank accounts. So it deals with a lot of automated, and so that it's supposed to make your life easier. But I find that you need to, especially with your personal books, you need to spend, on average, between 1 to 5 hours a month dealing with that. And it can be stressful, especially like if you're trying to get a mortgage or you're trying to get a loan. Having the paperwork that they request. They request insurance information. They request tax documents, real estate documents. having that accessible to you quickly is really important. So it's the organization, it's and being on time with your payments.
Yeah.
Those are keys to it all. And if you need help, I'm here for you.
Yeah, reach out to you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's interesting, with, you said 1 to 5 hours a month. So it's like, it really doesn't take that much time to just be a little more organized, a little more purposeful with, managing things well and being organized. And it's really what it takes,
Yeah, and, you could get it down to just 1 hour a month, which would be great, but in most cases, I think it's a tedious process, so a lot of procrastination is involved.
Right.
And then you get to a point where and I've experienced this when I was younger, where, there might be an issue or something and you avoid it, or you don't do something about it, or you don't do it quickly enough. And that can get you in trouble and can hurt your credit scores and everything else. It's like an avalanche effect. It just tumbles down.
Yeah. And they could probably get it down to like 15 minutes if they have you take care of it.
Oh,
just
they wouldn't have to
once a month, right?
They wouldn't have to do anything. We could have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, maybe 20 minutes a month, and we'll take care of everything for her.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you have any last thoughts for us before we kind of conclude things here?
No, I just think this is wonderful that you're doing this. It's really community based and it's intimate, and I hope people get to know me that don't know me, and I hope they get to know you too, and I can't wait to see more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I think people are liking them a lot, just hearing about these new businesses and seeing stories and faces and everything. So
well, there's a lot of businesses you interviewed that I know of, but I didn't really know them.
Yeah.
And it makes me I want to go visit them now.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, hey, I saw you.
Yeah. It's
on
cool.
TV.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
So thank you so much for serving this community as a council member, and also with having a couple different businesses now here in the county, just to to just serve people and give people a great experience with their accounting and taking that off their shoulders so they can pay attention to their business more and let you guys help with the organizing and helping them have that foundation, So
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah.
I know we had to cancel once before, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I'm jazzed that I got to do this.
Great.
So, thank
you so much.
Yeah.
Well, if you need help with your books, definitely get in touch with Noah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of The Heart of Fauquier. If you loved joining us today, give this podcast a great review and subscribe to keep up with new episodes. If you have an office in Fauquier that needs a cleaning service, reach out to Bedrosian Cleaning Services and see how they can serve you. Until next time, thanks for listening.